Welcome everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the new show on the AlphaCounter channel. This is a untitled podcast that is going to be a weekly podcast, mainly talking about a lot of FGC related things. I'm one of your hosts, Jared, one of the 3 founding members of AlphaCounter, and with me tonight I have 4 of my local community players, 2 of the best Street Fighter players that I know of. So I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves a little bit, and how long they've been involved in the community and such. So Javier.
Hey guys, my name is Javier Garcia. In Street Fighter 4, I play Akuma, and I guess top placings would be I got top 25 at Canada Cup 2011. And 9th place at NCR 2012. So, and my handle is Cynistar. So I'll go ahead and pass it to Mikey now.
Hey guys, this is Xsk Samurai. You guys know me by Mikey, one of Fresno's finest. Can't remember what my most recent placings have been. I guess 25th at Marvel for Evil. But that's pretty much it. Pass it on to Mike, who's in Korea actually, who just came back from...
Oh, it's actually Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it don't matter. It don't matter, dude.
Yeah. Hello, folks. I'm Nick Conant. At least that's what it says. I don't have a Twitter handle, as you can see, and I plan on keeping it that way. I've been involved with the FGC for almost 3 years now. So, yeah, I'm one of those people. I think we know. Right now, I don't really play Marvel or Street Fighter currently. I used to, but right now I'm big on Injustice, which I stand by my decision, which I play Batman, and because, I love Batman stuff. I haven't made it out to as many tournaments or majors as I would like to have in the last couple of years, but it's been good. I'm really good at, basically when it comes to playing fighting games, I'm okay. Basically, I'm better at commentary and just providing analysis and all that kind of stuff. And, it's my own little niche.
Okay. Mike?
Okay, hello everyone.
All the way from Korea.
Yes, all the way from Korea. My name is Mike. My handle is Eraldo Coil. I've been playing fighting games. I've been involved with the FGC actually for since 2009, since Street Fighter 4 came out. It's a game that got me into competitive gaming. So I've been to a lot of tournaments and just trying to get better. So yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Okay. I guess I'm the last one, huh? Jared. My name's Jared. I go by Jared, I guess, in my community. I've been playing fighting games for almost all my life, but I never really took them seriously until Street Fighter 4 came out. So I guess I've been involved with the community here for about a few years. Recently, about a year ago, we formed this, myself, Xsk Samurai, and Cynistar, we formed AlphaCounter, which is basically our fighting game community group that we host events and tournament organizing for our community, which we felt that it was needed at the time, and it's turned out to be a really rewarding job. It's really fun to do and put on events for everybody. I have a good time doing it, and I hope to keep doing it and bringing you guys awesome content and more events and stuff in the future. I play Street Fighter 4, I play Marvel, and I'm also big on the Injustice train. I'm on that hype train. Hopefully the game does not die before I go enter a major, but I'm not counting on that. So that's just a little about me. But anyways, this is a show that I've come up with that I've been wanting to do for the last few months. It's gonna be we're gonna hopefully try and do this as a weekly show where we talk about various FGC topics, whether it be tournament results, what's going on in the community. Maybe we do match analysis, maybe Xsk Samurai could walk through one of his matches, or Cynistar or something, walk through one of their matches, what is their thought process, and then also take questions from you guys, the viewers. If you guys have any questions that you want to answer, anything at all, anything FGC related, throw that down in the chat. Tweet us at FGCAlphaCounter. and let's just get that. That's the easiest way to start. So, probably the first thing that we're gonna get going on is actually we are going to get started talking about last night's Capcom Cup in Korea that took place last night, the qualifiers. If you guys didn't catch the stream, Infiltration took first with using Akuma, Oni, and Ryu. And then in second place was Japan's own Iji Momochi using a plethora of characters, Ken, Yoon, Cody, even Juri, and Akuma. And then third was a U.S. player, Hudaman, very good NorCal Honda player. Some will say he's better than Mike Ross. So, actually...
Debatable.
Yeah. Actually, Mike or Eraldo Coil attended the Capcom Cup qualifier in Korea yesterday, so he's going to start it off and just kind of kick it off and talk about the event. So go ahead, Mike. Floor is yours.
All right, thanks. So yeah, yesterday I attended Capcom Cup. It was held at Cafe Id here in Seoul, Korea. And I have to say, it was one of the best tournaments that I've been to. The guys at Cafe Id ran a great tournament. The venue was nice. Everything ran super smooth. Everything was on time. And I had a great experience with it. And the one thing that I really want to say about the tournament is that the environment at the Korean tournament is so different from the environments back home. Now, I've been to my fair share of tournaments. We all have. But for some of those who haven't gone to a tournament, at tournaments there can be a lot of hostility towards the players because you have different crews, you have different people rooting against you. Here in Korea, when I was playing the matches, when anyone was playing the matches, be it Korea versus USA, Korea versus Japan, all the players were showed lots of respect. No one was booed, no one was harassed by other players or guys yelling at them. Win or lose, they cheered for you. Doesn't matter if an American beat a Korean or if a Korean beat an American. Everyone shows the same amount of respect when they're playing on stream or when they're playing on the side, right? They let people concentrate on their matches. Whereas back home, there's been tournaments where you go and you play, and there's guys that don't even know you, don't even know either of the players playing, and they decide to go stand there. They talk crap, they troll, and they pretty much show no respect towards the players. And it's just amazing how different the scene is in various places. So that's why I say it was a great tournament. Another thing is too that I lost my train of thought. Everyone there is so helpful and friendly. When it comes to casuals after the tournament or before the tournament, everyone there is willing to help you.
That's good.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Like, no matter who, there's not too many people there that require you to play a money match. They're just willing. They're there to help people get better, which is awesome. Which is what I think the community should be. So that is another positive. Whereas back home, you have like this mentality with people not helping new players, people not, telling people their tech or anything. They want to keep it really hush hush. But here, everything's out in the open. If you ask, people will help you. If you need help, doesn't matter who you ask, they'll help you. So like, I wanted to get your guys' opinion on like the differences between tournament environments. Like, what are your thoughts? Because Mikey and Javier, they've played everywhere. They've traveled all over the country. They've played in hostile environments, and they've played in hometown environments where people are rooting for them. So I want to know.
Hostile.
I want to know what your guys' opinions are on environments like that.
Okay.
So if Jard, go ahead and hand it off to.
Well, I'll just say, since I haven't traveled nearly as much as Javier or Mikey, and they can tell you guys their experience, but based off of my experience, and I've been able to travel all over California and stuff like that to play tournaments. Like, I've never really found the tournament environment to be that like, I mean, I guess like as far as me becoming new to the scene, like I've felt the scene to be very welcoming, and like I made a lot of new friends through this community and stuff, and like I noticed that I've never really had a problem, like, you know, if I needed help on something and I would just ask people, they would give me a straight answer. Like it's I've never I don't know, maybe I just never been into a hostile environment, quote unquote, but from where all I've played, you know, everything's been really good. People have been really nice to, you know, with advice and like, you know, playing and stuff like that. Especially, you know, my own local community, like Javier and Mikey are two of the best. They're always willing to help you out. You know, they both help me out playing Street Fighter, Marvel, and stuff like that. You know, and they help out the rest of the community. So that's just my 2 cents. But Javier, do you want to start? I guess.
I guess I never played somewhere where I felt there was a hostile environment towards me. Like, I've played at places where, you know, I wasn't one of the best players there. I wasn't like a top name, so either people didn't know who I was or they were cheering for me because I was the underdog and they wanted me to win.
Okay.
But I have played where there's a lot of energy whenever we go to team tournaments and there's like little rivalries going on. I like that kind of energy because even though like the other team is like, you know, saying stuff about you or trying to get into your head, they're doing it in a fun way. They're not trying to put you down, or they're not, you know, saying any kind of derogatory terms. So I think those two type of energies are good.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, I haven't experienced anything negative, but I don't know. Maybe Mikey has. Maybe we should ask him.
Yeah, I've got enough.
It's like,
it's fun. I feed off the crowd a lot. So when I remember a good example would be when I went to Seattle. Oh man, when I played Marvel, nobody liked the way I played. Nobody, except for a handful of players, and I got to meet them later on. But the players that didn't like me, you know, they said my Doom sucks. You know, all he does is foot dive, and I did. All I did was foot dive. But
so they were right.
Yeah, they were right. But you have to take it as it is. I mean, they're just trying to get in your head. That's all. Nothing really of it. And that's the difference between some coaches, you know, in Japan, you know, in Korea, and even in America, they're all different, you know, coaches, and they have their different ways of, I guess, setting the stage for, you know, when their buddy plays or when they play. So definitely different.
Okay, so what tips would you guys have for new people coming into the community that might be kind of scared or intimidated by like environments like this?
Yeah, because, well, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut in, but yeah, because I mean, obviously you guys know, you've been paying attention to the FGC's technically been painted in a lot of articles as really negative, and
Very
you know,
so.
like really hostile environment, like not welcoming for new players and all this other stuff, and which I totally disagree, because I mean, I've always said the FGC, I've made a lot of good friends through this community, like you guys here. And also just like everybody to me that I have met has been nice. Like even a lot of these like top players that I've talked to, and they people are like, man, I don't know, this guy doesn't seem like he's a really nice guy, but like, they've all been nice, and you know, and like I just don't see where this negativity is coming from. But I can see how if a new player is trying to get in, but he doesn't know, he or she does not know, like, you know, just reads what they see on the internet and stuff, like it could be really a turnoff to them to not even want to come up. So yeah, like what advice would you give to like what Mikey said, or Mike G said? I'm sorry.
I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
One piece of advice. Well, who's on here?
Go ahead, Nick, and then Mikey. Go ahead, Nick, and then Mikey.
Well, one piece advice I would have for like sort of newcomers who might be, you know, a little afraid, you know, if they go to a big tournament for the first time, or you know, something like that. Part of the advice is, you know, don't be shy, don't be like timid, don't be scared, you know, don't be afraid to just, you know, go up to people, say hi, you know, introduce yourself, shake a couple hands, you know, or you know, if you meet a, you know, top player or whatever, you know, don't be afraid to go up to him or ask questions, you know, if you really, you know, want to. You'd be surprised how actually friendly and accommodating, you know, a lot of top players really are. You know, don't just go by like articles or, you know, the stuff you hear people talking on Twitter where it's like, oh, this dude's a punk, he's this, he's that, and da 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 da. You know, a lot of the experience I've had, like meeting like a lot of top players, they've been pretty down to earth people. You know, guys like Mike Ross, guys like Combo Fiend, even guys like Filipino Champ are actually surprisingly approachable in person. You know, so really, it's not as intimidating as one would actually think.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually brought up F-Champ, because a lot of people think, hey, he's a jerk, but really it's just that goes back to the whole mentality thing of intimidating your opponent. It's an act. It's not really something that he does on the regular. And even if he does it with his friends. But at the end of the day, who's the person that's helping the Marvel community the most? Up in North who's up at his house? And people can't say anything about that, because what have you done for the community? So when I see people say, hey, F-Champ is a jerk, but what have you done for the community? But back on topic though, I guess a person that is new and is looking to looking at this community as intimidating, you really shouldn't, because if you really want to delve your feet into this community, or any community in general, there's going to be some intimidation. There's going to be people that are going to intimidate you, but once you get past that, and of course that has to do with confidence. Once you get past that, it's just it's smooth sailing from there. And like Nick said, introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Small conversation. Hey, my name is so and so, and I did that a lot. I did that a lot when I traveled, and I forced myself to do that. And lo and behold, my confidence has been, better than what it was maybe 4 years ago because of that. So.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking through the chat, and Rob is in the chat. Hojimbo has actually made a very good point for new players. People got to know, for new players, you need to not be afraid to lose. Like, that's another thing too, I think, with a lot of new players. And like, I can attest, from us, hosting events and like sessions, weekly sessions and stuff, and we get new players. Some of them come and they play like, I hate to use you as an example, Mikey, but it's kind of true. Like, you are our top dog in our community for both Street Fighter and Marvel. But like, and when some of the new guys play you and they know who you are, but then they get beat down bad, they take it like really bad, and they don't want to come back. It's like, if you want to be part, the community is so open. It's just like, I mean, I don't know, like, when you go out to tournaments, Mikey, this is another question I can ask you, Javier, or any of you guys can step in. Like, when you go to tournaments, do you get approached, like, even like after your matches, do people come up to you and ask like, hey, what could I have done there? Or like, do they just come up to you and talk to you and just like, ask you questions, or just, just introduce themselves? Like, I mean, like, the advice that we're giving them, do you see that being brought out in the community? Like,
I want to say yes, but also no, and I'll say no more than yes, because I guess they feel like they lost, whatever. Either they're upset that they lost, or the way they lost. Something, one or the other. But the thing is, they don't approach you. That's the part that kind of bothers me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like why don't I did that. It's different perspective in the sense that I'm more open to asking people for advice, even if I win or lose. Mm-hmm. But it's up to them to get better, and if they're not asking the person who just beat them, you're missing an opportunity. They can be like, hey, screw you, or they can be like, hey, you could have done this better. You never know until you ask, and I feel like people forget that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. I guess for me, it has happened a few times where people will ask for tips, or what happens more often than not is that I'll approach them, like if I beat them in a match and then they're just kind of sitting there and thinking about it, I'll tell them like, hey, why don't you try this strategy, or did you know about this kind of tech, or I'll try to give them tips, or even if they're not just like sitting there, I'll find them if there's a station open for casuals, and I'll ask them to play, and then I'll kind of go through the matchup with them. So like, it's never happened to where like they say, oh, like I don't care if I lost, like, or go away, like I don't care what you have to say. They're always open to it, and it's usually been positive.
That's good.
I actually had some guy. I was like, hey, you could have demon right there. He goes, I know, and I go, oh, okay.
He's like, I know, but I didn't.
He was really sad. He was really salty. And I was like,
know,
oh,
but I didn't do it.
But no, but the times that I do, like just like Javier said, I go, hey, if you need some help, I'm down. I have to approach them, and that kind of bothers me. Right. If they approach me, that'd be kind of cool, but I have to approach them.
I understand. Totally understand.
Another thing too with starting out in tournaments, like maybe it's your first tournament, or that I notice a lot of new players make, is players will show up to a tournament and you walk up to them, ask them, hey, are you playing the tournament? And for a lot of people, they say, oh, I'm not good enough to play in the tournament, I'm just here to watch. And I feel that playing in a tournament, no matter what your skill level, can only help you improve. So, what are your guys' thoughts on something like that? How would you motivate a player that's just scared to play?
Well, one piece of advice, I can really offer when you're first stepping into the tournament scene or the fighting game community in general, and I can't stress this enough. I hate to say it, but you more than likely you're gonna get beat down. You're gonna lose a lot, but that's just part of the process. You gotta take your licks. You got to, you can't let failure discourage you. You can't be afraid to lose. You can't be afraid to fail. You need to be willing to just, pick yourself back up and say, okay, I lost, but why did I lose, and how can I fix that? What can I do better? And you just constantly go from there. You should always just be seeking to improve yourself, little by little. And again, never let failure discourage you. Don't be afraid.
That's a good point. And I can say from experience, like when I first came into the scene, like, and I met Mikey and Javier. I mean, I'm not that great anyways. Still, I'm an average player, but like I was really, really bad. I mean, Mikey would probably tell you I'm still really bad.
Average is kind of.
Average is kind of high, huh?
Kinda
Yeah,
high.
yeah, kind of high. Yeah.
Scumbag.
But anyways, like when I first came into the scene, like I wasn't really that good. Like I was horrible. I was an online warrior, and I thought like I can come out and compete with the best. But like, and I was losing a lot. But honestly, losing a lot, I learned so much playing with Mikey, Javier, and the rest of the community by just losing. And that's how I basically started learning better fundamentals. I started learning how to study matchups, learn things, adapt, and like I've become a way better player now. I mean, Street Fighter and Marvel, I'm like average. Like I mean, I'm probably a better Marvel player than Street Fighter, and I'm a better Injustice player than both of those other games. But I mean, it's just like it just shows that like I took a lot of licks for 2 years, but it was all worth it for me because I improved tremendously. Like I mean, I'm everybody, and here's the thing too. Everybody starts someplace. Like everybody starts at the same level. Everybody starts out. You don't start off like by playing fighting games and you're immediately godlike. I mean, unless you're Daigo. Daigo, who knows? Daigo could have just picked up the stick the first day and been like the most godlike player ever. We don't know.
That's
Or Justin, who has this like uncanny ability to be good at almost like any game he picks up.
Yeah. So I mean, it does happen, I guess, in rare cases. But most of the part, everybody starts somewhere. So it's like, you have to just like fighting games is all about being patient. In my opinion. Okay, go ahead, Mikey. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. Somebody being completely talented in fighting games is completely untrue because Daigo and Justin, they went to the arcades and they got completely destroyed the first time they went. So, and because of that, because of the losses, they kept coming back because they wanted
because their drive.
The drive. They wanted self improvement and they enjoyed that. And they enjoyed the competition, obviously. So, but I was there too as well. I mean, you can say that I'm one of the Fresno's better players, but also I was also at one point in time one of Fresno's worst players back in the day. So it just took me the motivation and the time to play against all these players from Fresno, and take the time to approach them and play them over and over until I started beating them. So
yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's like people just the new players, you cannot be afraid to lose, and take advantage of playing. Like I can't stress this enough. If for anybody out there that's like honestly like going to tournaments for their first time, and like the biggest advice I can give to you, go play casuals. Go play. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys will agree. Go play.
Definitely.
Go play casuals, and do not be afraid to ask a top quote unquote top player to play. Like Mikey, for example, and Javier, you could do this. You can chime in for the same thing. How many times have you guys gone to tournaments and asked a quote unquote top player or a Japanese player to play?
Oh, I ask them all the time.
Every time.
Yeah. See,
All the time.
like, there's another like. There is another consensus with a lot of new players that they want to win, so they'll play players that they're better than, but then they'll play someone else that's like obviously leagues and bounds better, and they'll get mad and they won't play him anymore. Like that's another thing I tell new players because they want to know how they get better, like outside of like practicing at home and learning some new stuff. I tell them when you go to tournaments or other sessions, play the better players. Like, or when you go to tournaments especially, seek out the top players. Like I mean, like Mikey and Javier just said, they ask players all the time. And, like, most of the time, like, your average response from those guys, like, what would they say? Would they play you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, they don't play Mikey because they just don't like
No.
you.
I actually have a good story because
Oh, story time with Xsk Samurai. You know, he's been waiting to tell a story, folks. So, all right, go
I
ahead.
remember.
Wait. Let me get myself a glass of warm milk.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing. I remember Javier was there. It was MOV and Mago sitting there playing, and I remember this. Javier was like, "Hey, can I get next?" It was Mago. Mago was like, "Hold on, you know, we'll play one more game." We played the first or 13 or something like that. And Javier was like, "Is it my turn?" He goes, "Yeah, it's your turn." They both get up and leave. I was like, "Oh."
Wow.
And then I go, "Hey, RF, do you want to play?" And I'm trying to get Javier to play him, right? He goes, "Oh, money match?" I go, "No, just, you want to play?" He's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Man, this guy wants to money match everybody." But yeah, I've asked Ken Devu to play. I've asked Kazunoko to play, Reinhardt. I've asked them all. Some of them might say, "Hey, let's money match," but ask them for casuals first.
Yeah, you always want to ask the players for casuals first, and like,
Right.
I even have a story too from this year's NCR. Like, Mikey Xsk Samurai was playing Momochi in casuals. Momochi was just sitting there at a tournament setup by himself and just practicing. And I was like, "Mikey, go! Momoshi's right there. Let's go play him." So me being the good guy, letting the best player go play Momochi, I was like, "Okay, you play 3 games, and then let me play Momochi before time's up." And he's like, "Okay." Mikey plays his 3 games. He gets bopped. I already knew I was gonna get bopped, but I wanted to play Momochi. I sit down, freaking Terry Kaneda. "You guys have to get off. There's no more casuals. Tournament session." Wanted to like break something. I was like, my only chance to play Momochi. He just gets up. He's like, "Oh, that's okay." He walks away. I'm like, "Damn it, Mikey." Oh, but I did get.
So the moral of the story is, be really aggressive when you want to play.
Yes, you have to be really aggressive. Because
Yes.
I will also say I didn't get to play Momochi, but later that night I got to play Chris G and Marvel. Because yeah, that. And I'll just be completely honest. Bullet Hell is not fun for anybody like thinking, "Oh God, that was so bad." But like it was nice because he was playing casuals and like all I did was just come up and he was just sitting there. I just asked him, "Can I play? Or you want to play a few games?" He said, "Sure." Just said sure. So I was just like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, don't be afraid to ask these guys. You have to just be proactive about it. So, but
don't be afraid, and you have to stay motivated from your losses.
yes. And Javier, you're gonna add something?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. Like, if you guys are worried about like playing new players, because you're pretty sure they're gonna beat you and probably beat you pretty bad. Like, it will never happen to you what happened to me. I got the worst case scenario.
I know where this is going. I know where this is going.
Yeah, at Canada Cup, I played a lot of casuals against Momochi, and I was getting bodied pretty bad. But I was learning from it. It was fun. But lo and behold, like 2 or 3 months later, I ended up being on like his like greatest hits. Like there's matches of me like getting counter hit into Ultra 2 like 5 times in a row. Like it's pretty bad. But somehow I ended up being on his like greatest hits videos.
Oh God, here it is.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll never happen to you guys, but it happened to me. So that's like the worst case scenario.
Javier, I had to do it. I had to find the video. Yes, I found it. Yes, I found it.
And if you look at Javier's face, he's like,
All right. If you stream, you gotta look at this right here. After this, you'll see the face. Javier, look at this life lead, by the way. Look at this life lead.
You are not making this easy.
Wow.
Hold up. Oh, get bodied.
You had that big of a life lead?
Yes, I did.
Yo, look at the damage.
Oh.
Yo, the damage.
And actually, I have one more story, but maybe Mikey wants to tell it. It involves us playing against Daigo and Mike Chow also. You want to tell it?
Alright, so... Well, it was Mike Chow, Daigo, and Momochi. But, I don't know. I remember it clearly. I was playing Daigo, $20 a game. Very expensive. I was down, about $100.
Yeah.
And I was learning. Every single match was very close, and as it got closer and closer towards the end of the night, and I got bopped. I got bopped 8-0 or something like that. And these guys are saying that I was on a gambler's high, but lo and behold, I was not. I was just learning.
You were.
No, I wasn't. I was not on a gambler's high.
You were asking us for more money so you could play.
I didn't ask you guys for. See, that's
You were treating them like your personal ATM, dude.
That's very false. And
Whatever.
like
Very
I
true.
said, for newcomers, if you guys are trying to play Daigo, ask him for casuals first, then money match.
Don't pull a Mikey and just go to the ATM and be like, Daigo, I have more money. It's time to play.
Yeah.
I also saw Mikey lose like $40 to Ryan Hart at Evo 2012 in like 10 minutes.
Oh
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted to point that out.
He was
Yep.
playing very good that day. I couldn't beat him at all. But that goes back to me not knowing that matchup as good as I should.
It also probably didn't help that my drunk ass was like right there shouting at you, but that's another story.
I mean, so obviously we have all these stories about us playing better people. So, I mean, I guess the takeaway is just don't be afraid to play better players. Just play as much as you can. Play casual.
I'm glad you brought that up. Also, not only should you play with better players, but you should ask them, even after a win or loss. Ask them, what can you do better, what can you do worse,
Right.
what did you do, bad. Because I did that a lot, and I even asked the Japanese players. I even waited until they had a translator to ask them. So
Yeah,
and they
go ahead. Go. I'm sorry.
if you're pretty if you think about it, what did I do good, what did I do bad? It's very open ended. So they have to really think about that. I even asked it to Chris G, and he took like a good minute to think about it. Saying, you used beam assist with the ball. That worked out. I asked Moon the same thing. He goes, I'm gonna think about it. You're good, but I'm gonna think about it. And he came back and told me, hey, this and this. So if you ask that, it's very open ended. You'll get a very surprising answer, and
Yeah.
it's either it reinforces your good habits, or it might he or she might mention your bad habits.
And I guess another thing I could speak just for myself. When you're asking these guys like advice, do never be like, don't ever take like criticism like hugely to the heart. Like if they're basically saying you're doing this wrong, like take that as a learning experience. Don't like get down on yourself and be like, man, I suck. Like I mean,
I feel like I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like a lot of players do that because of pride.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. Like I will say for my example, when I ask you like what I do wrong, what I can do, and it's like stupid little stuff that I should already know. Like but I don't get like I'm not like, oh man, I suck. It's just like stuff that I have to integrate and like learn how to deal with and like learn how to adapt and like use that. Take your advice and use it. Like even if like the player seems like he's just basically, just like being, I don't know, quote unquote mean to you, just like giving you like just saying, oh man, you did all this stuff wrong. Like take it in stride and just take what he said or what the player said and try to apply it. Because at the end of the day, those guys want more competition, so they want better players to come and get everybody to get better because they want more competition, more entry numbers. I mean, that's something else we could talk about for a different show about tournaments and stuff, but that's how I look at it.
But
The one thing you can really take away from that is that basically to be a part of this community, it helps if you have thick skin, that you're willing to take criticism.
And also a very open mind, I would say, because a lot of players
That too.
they are closed-minded. But if you look at like Daigo or Infiltration, when they talk about each other, they talk about each other like, hey, I couldn't adapt against him in 25th anniversary, or when Infiltration got 10-2, she's like, hey, he played magnificent that day, And they put away their pride and they say, that guy was the better player that day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you forget that,
And Mike, you were gonna say something?
No, I was saying like last week I got a chance to play Infiltration and he beat me 35-0. I played him for about an hour and 15 minutes. It's just a big learning experience, and you just can't get discouraged when you get beat that bad. You just got to keep moving forward.
Nah, dude, you should quit playing. You suck.
But moving forward, I wanted, and going back to Capcom Cup, the tournament. Most players, have been to a tournament or something, and a big problem with me, and especially me especially, and as well as Jared, I know he's also suffered from it, is tournament nerves. going into the tournament, Capcom Cup yesterday, I was probably the most confident I've ever been going into a tournament. I've been practicing against amazing players, for the past weeks, and I've been changing so much of my game and trying to improve. But when I got to the tournament, I did fine in casuals pre-tournament. But as soon as the tournament start, everything that I've been practicing, everything that I have been implementing in my game, it just, went out the window. My hands were shaking, I was sweating, and I just get horrible tournament nerves. And I guess the thing, if you were to watch my matches from Capcom Cup that was on the stream, you could look at the match, and in each different game, you could probably say that it's 3 different players playing, because each game is so different, and I don't know why. And I know it's a lot of things people deal with, and it can be a huge factor in your performance of a tournament. Most usually negative. It's always negative for me. And so I wanted to know what you guys what is your tips for someone to overcome the tournament nerves? Let's go with Mikey first.
Yeah, let's have Mikey start out.
There's 2 things, and I'm gonna have to. I'm fine. I should be. I don't think there's any disclosure or anything about it. But one thing, the first thing is go to more tournaments, and another thing is this is coming from F Champs, fighting game mastery thing. So disclaimer, go watch that, whatever. There's a little section where he talks about him practicing, and like Mike G said, he practiced in casuals, he's doing his combos, whatever. Then when it comes to tournaments, he struggles. Why? Because he didn't practicing in a tournament setting while in casuals. So what Champ does to fix that, he goes, all right, I'm down 2-0. This is the last set. I have to win 3 straight to win the grand finals. That's how he kind of practices, and that's what I've been doing lately as well, and it really does help. You can be like, oh, I'm down 6-0. I have to win 7 straight, or I'm not going to let this guy win a game for the next 10 games. That really helps out a lot, and I can tell for myself that it helps out a lot.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought, and then I have a point I want to bring up.
No, it helps. It helps everything. It helps your execution on point.
Okay.
Your mind game, your mindset is on point. Everything's on point.
Okay.
When you get
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting. My apologies.
I'm just saying that once you get there, like Jerry is saying, it's psychology. You've been there, you've done that. That's it. You've been there, you've done that.
Mm-hmm. I want to just bring up your case specifically, Mikey, is you've become more of a well-known player in Street Fighter 4. You have one of the best Ryus in the country. In my opinion, you do have the best Ryu in the country. Now, when you John Choi, my bad. This year you started traveling out of state more, and as you guys can see on the stream, I'm showing his one of his matches to get into top 8 at final round when he beat Justin Wong. Now, the thing is, since we're talking about tournament nerves, when you were playing, when you found out that you had to play Justin to get in the top 8 at a major, did it ever, did you feel any nerves? Not necessarily because it was Justin that you had to play, because you've played Justin before, but that it was this is to get into a top 8 at a major that you've never been to before, and just I don't know if you got in top 8 in a major in a while prior to this tournament.
There's a couple of things that happened. There's some little inside stories that happened. I played Justin the first time, and I got destroyed really badly because I forgot how to play the matchup. I played the matchup wrong. I was running away. I wasn't standing my ground. And so Gustavo, who was coaching me at the time, during final round top 8, he said, "Hey, you're playing the matchup wrong." In my head, I'm like, I need to listen. This is where the whole pride thing comes. Because if it was me back, 2 years ago, I'd have been like, what, you don't play what's it called, Rufus, so you shouldn't be talking. But I said, what, I need to put my pride away and say okay, so what do I need to work on? And lo and behold, Gustavo is a person that knows the Rufus matchup very well, because guess what, he plays Abel, and that matchup is terrible. And so what did he have to do? He had to learn the character. And what did he do to learn the character? He studied Rufus's, Justin's, Ricky's, Hatani's. He studied all those Rufus players, and he even studied infiltration and how he played against that matchup. And he said, you know what? This is what you need to do. You need to stand here. You need to make sure you walk forward here, and all of that. Like I said, back to Mike G's nerves. I was able to practice that the day of the tournament. So I was sitting there in the hotel room practicing with Gustavo, and he's like, all right, this is what you need to do. Don't put yourself in this position. Justin likes to do this. And so when I played, I was, I had to incorporate all that in those 2 out of 3 match, and that was very, very challenging. And I was very excited because I really wanted to beat him. I had a chance to do a double Jeopardy, which I don't know how that worked out. I got to play Justin again to go into top 8, but I had to play Justin, and I had to come back with something better, and I did. I did. I overcame my flaws in the first match, and it was very. I had a lot of emotion and excitement because I felt good that everything was working, and so that was my my mindset when I was playing against Justin. But the fact that I was able to put him in my pride, and listen to another player who doesn't play Rufus, and come back and beat Justin, that's a big improvement within a day. A lot of players cannot do that because it takes a lot of mental ability to do that. Mm-hmm. It really does. In one day, one sitting. It wasn't even like a day. It was like a couple hours. So
yeah.
Javier?
Yeah, Javier.
Sorry. What was the question?
We're just talking about tournament nerves and things you do, or any tips for players.
Well, I found what works for me personally is that when I do get tournament nerves, it's because in the back of my mind, I feel that I haven't prepared enough, and I find the best way to deal with that is just to constantly just play as much as you can, try to go in training mode or learn matchups, constantly. Don't just wait until there's a tournament coming up and start practicing a week or 2 before that. So as long as you're always trying to improve, always training, you'll never feel, or you won't feel the nerves as much because you'll feel more prepared. You won't feel oh crap, I forgot what to do in this situation, or I forgot what to do in this matchup, because you've only spent a week trying to figure it out. You should always try to improve, and then gradually, the more you play, the more tournaments you go to, the more top players you play, in casuals especially, the more those nerves will go away.
Yeah, and I feel like there's 2 things that add to that is going to tournaments because you stay in shape, and staying in shape in practice mode because there's a couple times where I forgot how to do a Doom Infinite, so there's a couple times, but yeah, definitely.
I seen a question with Jerry asking why I was so nervous, and I think the reason I was so nervous is because, like I said, I was incredibly confident going into this, and it was my first tournament in about a year and a half since I left California to come to Korea, and so tournaments don't come around here very often. So I felt that I put this enormous amount of pressure on myself to do well in this tournament because we get 1 tournament a year here, Street Fighter. So I put this enormous amount of pressure, and I just took everything so seriously, and I think that just all when that tournament started, I think it all just exploded on me as I hit the start button for my first match.
I'm glad you actually brought that up and mentioned that because at EVO for Street Fighter, I did the same exact thing, and I did it very poorly. For Marvel, I didn't really do that much. I just played my game, and Pierre Rog told me, hey, you probably try too hard. And I go, well, what could I have done better? He goes, you have to just not care. Because who you play against, you don't know who you're going to play against. It's just impossible. I planned to play Eita. And Eita lost to Chris G, So I can't prepare for everybody. So what you have to do is you just have to not care and play your game. That's it. Just play your game.
Yeah.
And so when Mike G was in the tournament, he couldn't play his game because he was so nervous, and he prepared for. I guess he couldn't prepare for everything, so he was overwhelmed.
Yeah, and I guess I'm the same way too because you guys are especially Mikey, Javier. You guys have seen me play in tournament. Mikey, you've seen me play really good, and then I just do something, I choke, Like I don't know what it is. It's like I get nervous, or like I can't explain it. Like it's like I don't know. It's like maybe because I just don't have enough. I feel like maybe I don't have enough, even though I played at tournaments out of town and stuff. Maybe I just don't have enough experience, or I just need to take that attitude where I just don't, like, I just play and I don't care, because I think I'm just worried when I play in tournaments, especially like I can say the last major I went to, NCR this year, like for Marvel, like at least I could speak for that. Like I was playing really outside my comfort level, and like I was playing just out, like nowhere near my capability. It's because I was just so nervous. I was trying to do too many things at once. Like it's basically because I got I can say, and maybe this is just for me from one experience, I got a glimpse of the bracket, and I was like, all right, I need to win this game to play this guy. I was looking too far ahead when instead of taking it one game at a time.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like something you can't do. I mean, you've heard people say before, you always take things one step at a time. But like, I mean, I didn't do that. I looked at the brackets and I was like, oh man, if I beat this guy, then I'm gonna play this guy, and then I can potentially get out of my pools from here. Like, it's just like, I don't know. It's something that's it's a mind block to me, because you see me perform well in some tournaments, like where I was like that one Marvel tournament we went to, Mikey, like Ray's tournament. I could have probably won that tournament because I was actually playing good that day, but my nerves kicked in when I was in winners finals, and I ended up losing and getting third. Like, I mean, it's just, honestly, it's just, it's something that I need to work on, and maybe I have to take that advice to, like, maybe just don't care, just play. You
can't care.
Yeah, you can't care. So, let's see. Nick, do you have anything to add about tournament nerves?
Oh, sorry, I forgot I was here. But yeah, well, yeah, there is some I really want to bring up too. Is that when it comes to the issue of tournament nerves and all that kind of stuff, the one thing to always remember, you know who it is that can really put the scare on you and really knows how to get inside your mind and scare the hell out of you better than anybody else ever can? You. Believe it or not, like, when it comes to tournament nerves and all this stuff, a lot of people defeat themselves before they even sit down to play. Their own mindset, their nerves end up getting the best of them. Like, take me for example. The first major I ever went to was with you guys. It was NCR 2012 last year, and I was playing in Marvel. And again, like what I did the same thing Jared did. I looked ahead at the brackets, and who do I see? I'm in the same pool as. Hi, I'm Nasty. Another Super Scroll player, because back at that time, back when I still played Marvel, I played Super Scroll and a lot, and everybody else kind of. Some of the people here found out about it and like, oh, dude, you and Hi, I'm Nasty, that Scroll mirror match, let's go. And then right off the bat, that just made me nervous as hell and kind of scared me. And it wasn't long, come game day, it wasn't long, I won my first 2 matches, so I'm like, all right, I'm feeling pretty good. And then I sit down to play my next opponent, and it was this guy I had never really seen or heard of before, and he just bopped me. He was playing like Wolverine, Sentinel, and some other character. Point is, I got my ass kicked, and it was like I was all focused on Hi, I'm Nasty, and then all along, here was this other guy I'd never known or heard of that just came out of nowhere and bopped me, and I wasn't prepared because I was more focused on, the bigger guy in that sense. And then afterwards, I did end up playing Hi, I'm Nasty. And long story short, I got bopped, and that was the end of my tournament for the day. But, the fact is, I kind of defeated myself, big time, because, I was too fixated on one thing in particular, then something came along, caught me off guard, and then when I did get to what I was focused on for so long, I just kind of dropped the ball. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and another thing that I think always added to tournament nerves for I think a lot of players as well, and players that put lots of pressure on themselves, is that a lot of people travel a very long way. They pay a lot of money for hotel, and they drop a lot for a weekend, and so I think a lot of players do put that pressure on themselves to do good because they want their They want all of this to be for something. They don't want to go pay all this money, travel all this time, and then go 0-2 somewhere.
Yeah.
I think that's another big thing that people have to overcome.
Well, it's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot bigger incentive too when you're paying all this money for flight, hotel, and stuff. It is kind of a bit more incentive to play better, I'd say.
Yes, definitely. We have a question from It's FTB. He wants to know. He says, "I know Mikey touched on this topic, and I may have skipped it, but in a recent article with Infiltration, he said that now he's working on physical health. What are your thoughts?"
Well, I know myself. If you are not in tippy-top shape with your body, your gameplay will show big time. If you don't have enough sleep, your hands will do the wrong things for sure. If you are not eating right, your mind will be somewhere else.
Yes.
Way the heck out there. And you guys all know, you've been there. You've eaten like a burger that's really disgusting, and then you go and play, and you play like the worst game of your life.
We can.
Yeah, it feels terrible.
I could definitely vouch for that, because there were times that at tournaments that we went to and we ate like fast food, and that was possibly like the worst decision ever. It wasn't like, I mean, I noticed something now. Like, you'll get better at this once you start going to more tournaments. But like Mikey and I, for say, when we go to tournaments, most of the time what we eat Subway.
Yep.
Like we eat Subway. Like, it sounds lame, but
We're not affiliated with Subway in any way, by the way. They're not paying the bills here.
Like, I mean, it's
important to eat.
It's important to eat well, and then you also have to be able to sleep too. Like, here's another thing too. It's like, if you're going out to a tournament, like a major or something that's 3 days or something, you're not going to get a lot of sleep. You have to, because like, money matches, all this other stuff, you're going to have to find time to at least get a few hours of sleep in, because if you don't get sleep, your play suffers so much. Like, God, SCR, my first major, SCR, 20. It's when Ultimate came out. Was it 2011?
2011.
Man, you remember? Mike was with us. Like, you remember? We didn't get any sleep that night, and I had to play one of the early pools. You saw how bad I played.
I think that for all of us, that was one of our worst tournaments.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's.
I'm gonna mention F-Champ, because remember I went to FGTV one of the weekends, and it was 7 a.m. when we were finished playing. I go, "Hey Ryan, aren't you supposed to go to Curly Mustache?" She goes, "Yeah, I'm just gonna, man up and drive the same night." I'm like, "Aren't you gonna sleep?" He goes, "No, I'm not gonna sleep." I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "You crazy, dude?" Guess what we did? They drove over there, and he didn't win.
Yep.
And obviously, he can beat those guys. Those guys can beat him too, but chances are he can beat those guys, and he didn't. And that can tell you, obviously traveling a long ways, driving 8 hours, I think, 7 hours, no sleep, and playing in a tournament. That's very stressful.
Yeah.
It's very stressful.
Oh, yeah. Don't overexert yourself. Again, like, if you're like at a tournament or whatever, don't think, I'm gonna stay up all night the night before playing and get as much practice as I can. Please, for the love of God, don't do that. Get a decent night's sleep. Get a good breakfast in.
I'm gonna tell you 2 things that CJ and X-Ray told me. X-Ray decided to sit down and play the night before, in practice, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm feeling good." He did well, but he didn't do as well as he wanted to. I think this was at EVO. I can't remember. But he was feeling himself, so he decided to stay up and play. Didn't get too much sleep. The next day he felt terrible. Terrible, CJ didn't play, I think, the day before EVO. He just relaxed, hung out, and he played just fine, He played however he wanted to play. But that's the difference, a person that just took the time to, rest up before an event, not cram. That's another thing. A lot of players try to cram. It's just like taking a test. Your tournament is your test. You can't cram. You can't learn all this information. It's not going to help you the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better to have planned it out. Studied your matchups and done all that stuff a week or maybe even a month before, and go to the event prepared.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And like yesterday too, I made that big mistake is like I've been to the tournaments. I everything Mikey said is true, and I know that you're supposed to eat well, and be ready. But yesterday I made the horrible decision to. My breakfast was a protein bar, and that was it. And while at the tournament,
You bad, son. You bad.
While at the tournament, I downed 2 cans of Monster, and that's all I had until around. I'm gonna say around 9 p.m. at night.
Man, you sound like me. Jeez.
God, dude.
And
Why
that
would you
definitely
do that?
has an effect on your play. And that's that I have no excuse for that because I know better.
Dude, that's the jarred
Yes, it
special
is.
right there. Jesus.
Yes, it is. It is a recipe for Owen too, as Javier said.
You know what's funny? At Landhammer, I decided to take not just 1 cup, maybe like 2 or 3 cups of coffee, right? And I actually read a study on caffeine and professional athletes. Caffeine, it's not banned. I think it was banned in the 70s or something like that. I forget. I remember reading about it, but it's not banned anymore. It's a supplement, whatever. And professional athletes take it, to have a better workout, to compete better, whatever. But I took caffeine 2 cups, 2 times, maybe 3 times more than I usually would. And I was reading about athletes who do that for the first time. Their bodies aren't used to it. So guess what happens? They screw up or something. Something happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt
shaky,
the same.
They're all jittery and all that stuff.
They're not used to it. And people like Daigo, who I think he does take a coffee. I've heard from Z. He drinks black coffee before a tournament. He may be used to it, but I'm not. At least taking 3. I'll take 1. I'm fine. But I took a lot more coffee than I should have, and I definitely raised my awareness in the wrong way when I played matches. So definitely take that into account.
Nutrition and everything is so important. Just
it is.
to play your best. Like that cannot be stressed enough. Like working out. It might not even necessarily be like going to work out at at the gym and stuff, but just making sure you eat the right stuff on tournament day and stuff like that.
Oh, and then this little tip is gonna help out a lot. A lot of people say, "Hey, I'm gonna stop playing and take a break," and they just sit around in the arcade or in the venue. That's the worst idea ever. What you need to do is you need to go outside and take some fresh air. And
Especially at a tournament.
Yeah, because guess what happens? You're just breathing a bunch of CO2 or whatever. You're just breathing a bunch of dead air.
You're breathing ass.
Yeah, you need to go outside and breathe some fresh air so that you're back in shape. And I've done it before. It actually does make a huge difference.
Okay.
Actually,
Javier?
Yeah, Jared, let me say one more thing before we switch topics.
Okay.
I guess one tip that I think most people might not know about unless they travel to tournaments is I would say don't bring a setup with you because you'll probably end up playing like all night.
Oh man!
That is a huge thing.
That just completely changed everything. Like, man, like all right. Oh, I remember the first major I went to is SCR, and I remember Javier, you told me because you guys drove in another car and I drove too. You guys said do not bring a setup, and I was like, why wouldn't you bring a setup to practice combos? We're gonna go to sleep. No. We got to the room and we were playing till 4 a.m. And you know who kept us playing? Freaking Mikey. I blame you. Because this guy didn't have pools till like in the late afternoon so he could sleep. My pools didn't start.
Mikey for everything.
My pools didn't start till 8 a.m. So I was like, oh, it's 4 a.m. I have to get up in about 3 hours to play? Yeah. It's good stuff, man. Ended up getting bodied by a guy who got top 8. All right.
Yeah, I'm glad Javier mentioned that because I remember the few times before I left Korea, that was one of the things that we started, like no setups. We're not bringing a setup to the hotel room.
No setup.
And that really helped a lot because we really, we would go somewhere, we'd play, we'd go back, and we wouldn't do anything. We'd throw on the TV or whatever, watch a movie, but we always went to sleep at like a decent time. And it really helps out the next day. Yeah. Because there's always rooms with setups that you can go find if you really do want to play, but that is good advice to keep it out of your own room.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much. So that's probably gonna do it for tournament nerves, huh?
Yeah.
That covers the major stuff.
Okay.
So just run down the. Could you just run down for the viewers the tips for tournament nerves?
tournament nerves. One, at least I can say the one tip that I can give you, and I still have nerves and I still deal with them, but I'm starting to get over it, is you just gotta play and just don't think about anything. Just don't care. Just go in and play. Like, look, I understand, like, going, like, let's say you get put on stream at Evo or something. You have all thousands of people watching you, and, you know, all these people in the background watching you. You just have to, like, shut that out and just be like,
Oh,
no.
you know what?
Easier said than done.
Just play. You just have to play.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm sorry to bring this up, but I remember when I was traveling with Chow and Javier, I didn't know who my opponents were. I didn't know who Mike Ross was. I just said, hey, they're famous. I don't know who they are, so I'm gonna play them. I'm gonna try to beat them.
And then,
if I beat them, they're gonna feel bad because I suck.
But Mike Ross taught you everything.
He definitely did not. He taught me how to backdash and jump all the time.
He taught me everything. Everything good in life I learned from Mike Ross.
Yeah, but
I still believe.
that's pretty much the idea. Like, if you don't know who the guy is, who cares? Just play your best, you know?
Yeah. That's all you can do is just play your best, and you just cannot just, like, it's easier said than done, but you just cannot worry about it. Like,
It's something you have to work at.
it's something you have to work at. Obviously, you're not going to get over it playing the first match and stuff. It's something you're going to gradually get better at, but, like, you know, it's just something you have to keep working on. You know, it'll get better over time. Like, look, you have to also put yourself in other players' shoes. Like, top players and stuff, they're all in your shoes at one time too. So you have to, you know, you have to just think like that too. Everybody started where you are, so, you know, you just have to you have to work at it, and you just, you know, it'll go away. Trust me. It's like
just to
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just a quick recap before we move on. Dealing with tournament nerves. Be carefree. Eat well.
Rest well.
Rest well. Get lots of rest. And what else?
And don't
Just a quick
overhydrate.
recap.
And don't overhydrate.
Don't over.
I'll tell you why, because a lot of players will take a lot of water, and if you sweat a lot, if your hands are sweaty, that's going to contribute a lot to potentially, you know, contribute to a missed combo. So what you should do instead to stay hydrated is eat foods with a lot of water. Swear. Salads, you know, spinach, good source. Something that has
spinach.
water. Yeah, because food naturally has water in it, and you can still stay hydrated from foods.
That's true.
And Jerry brings up a good point, that tournament nerves might not ever completely go away, but by using these tips, you could help lessen those nerves, and it helps you deal with them at a better level.
Yes. So I guess then we'll just move on to our next. Oh, go ahead, Mikey. You got something else to add?
Actually, Jared.
No, he doesn't. Let's keep going.
Jared says, I don't think tournament nerves will ever go away completely. It's about how you cope with it and
Dude,
use the energy.
Way to just miss that by like 2 minutes ago, man. Come on. Catch up, dude.
Well, I'm just reading it right now. But, dude, I think that, man, I'm just like spewing out fighting game mastery out of my mouth right now. But
Yo, we should be charging for this, man. We should be charging
We
for
should
this.
be, man.
Should be charging for this.
It's something that I do myself. I've done it before I even saw the video, but you have to know how to talk to yourself when you're playing, and that calculates, because like Jared said, or Jerry said, you're gonna get nervous. It's gonna happen, but it's how you talk to yourself. Say, okay, you know, I need to calm down. I need to do this and that. He only has this much life. You know, I need to get this meter to so and so. It's how you talk to yourself to avoid that nervousness. That's a big factor, especially if you're in your grand finals, top 8, whatever, main stage. That matters huge time. And if you can't, then more than likely you're gonna fall to that nervousness. You're gonna just crumble.
Yeah.
So.
Of course. So go ahead, Jar. Next topic.
Okay, what else do we want to talk about?
Well, I think you guys wanted to touch upon. We talked about this, and then also I saw some people in the chat saying that, you know, they don't have a local scene, and you know, they don't know how to get started. So maybe we can, because I don't know how you guys would define our scene. Would you consider it relatively small still?
I think it's small.
Relatively small, yeah.
Relatively small. Okay, yeah. I wasn't gonna say our community is big, but there is a way that we can. I mean, there's ways that players who don't, you know, if you guys don't have a scene or don't know how to get started, there's plenty of ways that we can, like, you know, point you in the right direction. Like, for example, probably the first one, check shoryuken.com.
Regional matchmaking.
Go to the regional matchmaking. check the threads, like here, like actually, let me pull that up so you guys can see. For maybe for people who are watching that are not necessarily familiar with shoryuken.com. So if you go to shoryuken.com and go to the forums page, scrolling down here, regional matchmaking. So they have regional matchmaking for everywhere in the U.S. and stuff. So like knowing for our scene, we're in the Pacific North thread, and then we have our thread right here, the Fresno thread, and along with a bunch of NorCal threads and stuff like that too. That's where most of us post, and we ask about sessions. We post about different tournaments, stuff like that.
That's the number one. That's the first place to look.
That is
if your location has a community.
That is the first place that comes up. The other thing too is, and I will say too that SRK is kind of a dying. It's kind of like, would you guys say that the forums, like for the regional matchmaking, is kind of dead? Like more and more people are using Facebook and stuff for fighting game events and all this other thing.
Yeah. Well, go for it. Javier, because Javier brought it up in the chat.
Yeah, I haven't used the forums in like a long time, but especially SRK, I think that site as a whole is like changing towards more like articles and like more like event hubs as opposed to a way to meet like new players, search your area.
Yes.
I think the best way is to maybe go to SRK first, but then go to Facebook, or maybe follow people on Twitter like top players, and maybe they know about stuff that's in your area, or maybe they live in your area and you don't know about it.
So like if you like, I have like Facebook open, my own Facebook, and like if you just like search like your areas, like I belong to a bunch of different pages that have like I belong to the SRK X Factor group where NorCal posts about like Street Fighter and stuff like that, and I belong to all these other pages that post about sessions and everything like that. So that's another good way to use your social media and stuff is getting really huge, like Javier said. So taking advantage of Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that, and is so smart, because that's where a lot of people are starting to gear toward like their things. Because if you see a lot of new players are joining the FGC, and surprisingly a lot of new players, when I ask them like, oh, how did you hear about like us, they say Facebook, Twitter. Like hardly people tell me SRK.
Right.
So anybody else want to touch?
Go for it, whoever.
Actually, one other thing I just thought of is, if you play online, like ask those guys on PSN or Xbox Live, like if they're in your area, ask them where they're from, because maybe you'll find out that there's a little scene around you that you didn't know about.
I think if for places that have a small, or that guys that don't think they have a community, or say, oh, there's no one around here that plays, post weekly flyers, like host a session at your house, post a flyer at your school.
Like here, I will show you guys a flyer. This is our flyer that we had made for AlphaCounter, that for our weekly events on Fridays that we host. So we list like the times, cost,
cheap pop,
cheap pop, and then like our social media and all this other stuff. So and we put that out there. I put that all over the city, and hoping that we can get new players to come in. It's all like, there's so many tools now, and then also like someone mentioned in the chat too, the Event Hub's fight tracker. Like I personally have not used that, but I've heard things that like for people who don't really have a quote unquote scene, it's like it's a good way to find players. But another thing too is you may have to start your own.
Sometimes you have to start your own.
Like I think I saw in the chat DCB asked like how we got started as AC.
Can I talk about that? Yeah.
Do you want to talk about this?
Well, first, can I just like throw something in for like the guys looking for a scene really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Like for all the guys that are in the dead areas who don't claim they don't have something. Like Jerry said, he's posting in the chat. make a flyer, post it at your school, post it in your office, post them around town on bulletin boards. Even if you get one person to show up, you build from there. But even if the person's not any good, you're having someone that's willing to show up and play. Help that person get better. That's how the community gets built. If that guy's coming saying, "Hey, I met this guy. I met this guy. He's a really cool guy. He's a good friend. Come over and play some games." And then he tells their friends, and yeah, maybe they're not the best players. Maybe you beat them, but you help them get better, and that's how you build your community.
That is well said, very well said, because that's pretty much what we did. I mean, around Street Fighter 4 when it came out, we had a ton of people playing. Those guys left. They went off to school, went off to other countries.
Life happens.
Life happened. But once we started losing those people, we had to come up with an idea of getting people through to our sessions. So, like you said, we posted flyers, Facebook. We did as many alternative media, in any means to post on alternative media, to get these guys out here and showing up to our events and seeing what they're all about. And that's a great way to put it, Mikey.
Yeah.
And then
I think it's really important.
Champ actually, he started off with Starbase with like 3 guys. Now it's like 50 people in NorCal that play Marvel. It's a lot of people.
That is definitely a lot of people.
Yeah, it's slow, but it will happen. So if you don't have a scene, you have to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean,
NorCal.
It takes a lot of work.
It does take a lot of work, and then maybe
Yes.
we can kind of indulge how we started this Alpha Counter, I guess. If you want, we can indulge in this, but basically, like Jerry put it in the chat, perfect. Back when I joined the scene, it was relatively like house sessions and stuff. So like the current FGC was like basically Sumi's house. If you guys remember, it was like Team Sumi, man.
Oh yeah.
It was just like house sessions, and then we eventually got a venue out in Clovis, and things didn't work out, and we were going to lose a place to play. It just turned out that we were getting in. We met a lot of new players with that new venue, so but it's like we couldn't go back to house sessions in a sense because not everybody can be invited. You can't invite like 20 people to your house, for a session.
I mean, you can, but it won't work out very well.
It won't work out that well. So, like, Mikey, Javier, and I got kind of, I guess, like, dragged into it at the last minute. I say that like it's a bad thing, but it turned out it was a blessing.
I think a better way to say it is you came to us. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yes, I begged to be in this. Maybe they just realized I was one of the most responsible people, and they're just like, this guy will do all the work for us. He'll do it. No, but I can't forget about that great place called Focus Attacks. Oh gosh, we remember that place. But no, anyways, like real talk, like
Kippo.
No, but real talk though, real talk. We took it upon, the three of us took it upon ourselves, and we kind of like we did it for the benefit of the community, I guess you can say, because like we needed a place to play, because like we said, we didn't want to go back to house sessions, and this way we can invite more new players to come to our venue and play, but also at the same time have a place for everybody, and we can host tournaments and stuff, like a steady venue. Like, I don't know, I'm curious, like, Mikey, Javier, do you guys want to throw that out there, like throw out your 2 cents and like talk to everybody how we kind of got started, and like what was your mindset going into it?
I don't know, Mikey, do you want to go first?
We pretty much said, hey, if nobody's gonna do it, we have to do it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much. We had to do it.
Yes.
If you wanted the community, we had to make it happen. It didn't matter if we had two people there. As long as people showed up, we were gonna slowly build it, and we still are.
We still are slowly building it. Yes.
Yeah. Smash and Board. Those guys bring out like 20, 15 people every single day, maybe even more.
Smash brings the females, man.
Oh, yeah.
I still don't know how the hell that works.
We're playing the wrong game. Playing the wrong game, guys. That's all I know. But Javier.
Yeah, pretty much like we love playing these games, and we had a place where we already met up every week, but that wasn't going to be around too much longer. So we wanted to continue it. So we just found a way to. Well, first we found a place, and we just started having events as much as possible, trying to spread the word, making sure people knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been tough for us to get more people to join, but I think as long as we keep trying, and I mean, people always show up. Like, it's never completely dead. So,
yes, we always still get every Friday we still get a good turnout. You know, some weeks are definitely smaller than others, but at the same time, like it's never dead. Like we still like doing it, and it's, you know, it's like Mikey said, if the three of us didn't take a hold and do it, it wouldn't have happened. And it has nothing to do with like the rest of the community saying like, you know, you guys are lazy or whatnot. It's just like maybe some of these other guys just don't have the drive to keep it alive like the three of us do, I guess.
Because I think all of us are like each and every one of us in this thing. I think we're all very passionate about the game and the community. So I think, you know, that's another big reason why.
I would definitely go ahead and say that.
Yeah, I mean I will honestly say since we started this it's been over a year since we started this, and I can say that we've definitely made a good. We've moved forward and we've grown our own community. We've gotten like a lot of new players that come to play Marvel, Street Fighter. You know, we've had Smash guys join our community. It's also too we've had tournaments where we like our last big tournament that we had before Evo, we were able to snag Filipino champ, CJ Showstopper, Drew Grimy, Neo, like we had guys from
K-Beast, Ray,
K-Beast, X-Ray. We had guys from SoCal that are top Skullgirl players from SoCal come and stuff like that. So it's like we're slowly growing. The thing is, if you're gonna, and the biggest thing I can say is, and I can even speak to this, is like, because I do a lot. I put a lot of hours into this every week. It's not because I have to. It's because I like to. You cannot be discouraged because this takes a lot of work. And Mikey and Javier, we could sit around and we could tell all you guys how many hours we put in starting this and also putting on tournaments. We could, I mean,
hours and money.
Hours and money. And here's another thing too. It's not cheap.
Like, no, it ain't.
It's not cheap, but also don't let that affect you trying to grow your community.
Yes, exactly. That was the thing I was going to say. The thing too is, you know, you can't if you're trying to grow your community like first and you don't know anybody, start slow, like what was mentioned earlier. Start slow with like house sessions and stuff. You know, post on Facebook, you know, find people. And then if you guys get a big enough following, maybe you can have 2 or 3 of you guys band together like we did and build a community up. Yeah. You know, find a steady venue, you know, because I know venues not cheap. You can't find cheap. I mean, we live in California, everything's expensive.
There's no such thing as cheap in these here parts.
Yeah, but like, I mean, finding a steady venue where you can host tournaments and you can hold enough people for even just sessions first, and then just spreading the word. That, because the thing that I personally found from spreading, like making flyers and spreading them around our area where we live, is I would go to GameStop. Like, I will use this for an example. Like, Nick and I went to the Injustice Midnight release.
Yeah.
And Nick, we can recall how many players there were there, like, that actually played Injustice. Granted, where I'm calling you guys out now. Where are you? I'm calling you guys out right now.
Yeah, seriously, all you guys, we're putting you on blast. Yes. I don't care.
I'm calling you.
Come out and play.
I'm calling you guys out now. But like, by handing out those guys, like handing these guys as flyers, like showing them that we have a place to play, and where you guys can, like, you know, meet other people, you know, just have some fun and like play some games. Like, just giving them that option is. Some players have come, maybe even if it was only one time, they at least came. So you just have to keep trying. It's like, you can't be discouraged. Like, I got discouraged a little because it's starting to get a little hard to just keep spreading the word. But I mean, my love and passion for this community just really keeps me going. So it's just like, you can't be discouraged, and you just have to keep going. Like,
they'll just think about it. Like, Wednesday night fights started in a garage.
Yes.
And look
literally
what it turned into.
Garage.
Yeah, it literally started in the garage.
And you know, Wednesday night fights used to be free. Like, there was no money involved with it. So Alex Vio was running tournaments for a whole year for free. So
That's a very good point.
And like, it's not gonna happen overnight. You gotta keep working at building a community, and,
and-
you just build it slowly. And if you keep working, eventually it'll grow.
and Wednesday Night Fights got their first sponsor in a year, I think. So that's a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
You can't get discouraged, and you just gotta keep working hard at it.
yeah, because we've been around for a year doing this, and like, we're slowly making strides, but we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't like it either. So you still have to. You also have to be really passionate about doing it. You can't just like do it just because. Like, I mean, that's to me, that is the biggest thing. Is like, I still do this because I'm passionate. Like, I don't even like technically practice that much anymore because I'm intrigued by the fact of making our community bigger because I know that there's players, and I know that this community. I love this community. And I want to do anything I can to make it grow and make it last.
Yep.
So, I guess like outside of like Facebook and like sure you can event hubs, like there's other places like like other gaming forums, like NeoGAF.
Yeah, shout out to NeoGAF.
Like NeoGAF has a pretty good couple fighting game threads. That and some respectable members of the FGC post there. Like Mike, would you say like Maximilian post there, Markman?
Maximilian post there, Markman.
Those are respectable folks, I would say.
A lot of top players. I'm forgetting a lot of names, but there's a lot of helpful people on there too. But like, yeah, that community when I first started out, they're the ones before I met all of you guys. They're the ones that like motivated me to find something, and eventually, I found out about you guys, and that's how I entered that community. So there's always forums and places that are willing to help you out if you just ask.
Yeah, and the thing too is you have to go out and look. You have to go out and you have to do the research because
you can't expect it to just show up at your doorstep. You have to go out and make it happen. Look for your community. If there's not a community, start one yourself.
Yeah,
exactly. You gotta go out, put the work in, shake a couple hands. Meet people, make shit happen. It's not. And again, it's not gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna happen in a week or a month. Rome was not built in a day, son.
Yeah, it's.
Me?
I mean, like, look, we've been doing this for a year, and we're still slowly building up. But it's like we're gaining momentum. So it's a long road. But like, yeah, like for like the guys in the chat like just asking like like how to find stuff. Like take that and just start with that, and then like there's like in this day and age technology. Technology is we're so technologically involved now. Like you can use you could just tweet players, like just top players, and just ask maybe. Like you never know. I mean, you just have to.
Let's just run down. Let's do a quick recap of all the tips.
Before I say that, the last thing is don't be afraid to travel. If you're looking for stuff, do not be afraid to travel. Like, and we'll go over the stuff, and then I have one more thing I want to ask Mikey, and then I think that will do it for the show. Okay. So Mike, let's just run down the stuff that we said about new community.
No community. Check SRK. Check forums. The matchmaking forums. Look for your place. Maybe it's not going to be exactly in your hometown. Maybe you might have to make a 30-minute, 45-minute drive. That's what I did. I had to drive about 45 minutes to an hour to get to my community. If you can't find anything, try to make one. Use flyers, Facebook, Twitter. Look for groups. Create a quick flyer. Say you're hosting a session. Post it around your schools, your offices, bulletin boards. Hit up the local game shops. See if you could throw a flyer on the window or leave some flyers at the front desk. Usually a lot of them, we'll let it rock. So you just have to keep working hard, and if you're passionate about it, it'll grow.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to kind of bring everything to a close. But the last thing I wanted to ask Mikey is just, and Javier can chime in on this too, is like, when you guys were in that huge grind to get better, like Like when I say don't be afraid to travel, like maybe just tell these guys like just a little brief thing of like how much you guys used to travel then like to get better, to get where you guys are at skill level wise in like Street Fighter.
Oh man, you want me to start, Javier? Because I have a lot of things to say. Oh
All right,
man,
go ahead. I might as well get started.
So let's see.
Grab
Monday
some
rolls
milk.
around. Monday rolls around. Or no, let's say you know, you go to work. Friday comes, we go to tournaments. I don't know, either on the weekend, and then Monday rolls around again. We go to Hyros. That's a 3-hour drive. We played F Champ. We played John Cho. We played Ricky Ortiz. We played all those guys. Hyro. Came back 6 a.m. the next day. Rinse and repeat for a good year, I think. We did that for a whole year.
Wow.
So we had like 5-6 hours. I had 5 or 6 hours of sleep every single day, practicing, traveling. And that goes back to, you know, health. Do not do that. Do not do that. I mean, yeah, you'll learn a lot. The reason why I did it personally was because I felt like I was 20 years behind in fighting games, so I had to catch up big time. It's kind of like, you know, playing StarCraft or Brood War, and, you know, it's already been like 10 years. You have a lot of catching up to do, right? So do not do that. Don't neglect your health, but do take the time to, you know, appreciate, you know, how much work you have to put into, you know, getting better into fighting games. Definitely travel, and definitely, you know, take your advice from anybody. You know, it could be somebody that isn't very good, but they see something. If they're watching you play, they're the observer. You're the player. That's the difference. You know, if they have something to say, listen to them. You know, they see something that you don't see.
Exactly.
So,
Definitely. And then, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
Just to add to that, I would say that like the reason why I personally wanted to travel as much as we did, because I felt like we needed to follow in the footsteps of like our own predecessor, which I would say is Chris Schmidt, because every weekend he traveled down to SoCal to play Marvel 2 against those guys, because there wasn't much competition in Fresno, so he needed to travel to play better players and to level up.
Yeah.
And every weekend he would go down there and play, and eventually he became like one of the very, very best players of Marvel 2 ever. And that's how he did it, by traveling as much as he could. He had to go outside of his comfort zone. He had to, you know, leave his town, and he had to do that as much as possible. So that's kind of what it takes. That's kind of what you have. And
then to add to that, Chris told me, back in the days, they didn't have a community, you know. They just said, hey, you four, you know, we play Marvel. That's it. You know, that's it. You know, they had 4 players, you know, and it took it to Chris to go travel and try to get better. And that's the difference between, you know, somebody who doesn't have community and somebody who does now. That's the difference in our generation right now. Like, we have a community right now, but we still travel. Chris didn't have a community, but he traveled anyway. So, as you can see, traveling makes a huge difference because you learn a lot. Oh, yeah. And then when you do travel, do not waste your time. We had a golden rule of, if me and Javier were traveling, we never ever, and I hate it when I see this, we never ever played each other, ever. That's such a waste of time. We don't drive 3 hours just to play each other. We played anybody else. They didn't care if they sucked or if they were super godlike. We played them.
That is a very, very good point. Because I see the people make those types of mistakes. That when because they play, even when they travel out of town, it's like they play people in their comfort level. You know.
Yes. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Like you have to play others just to, you know, get a feel for, like, you know, that's how you're gonna get better, like, truly. So yeah. I mean,
and even and a lot of people will bring up, we don't have the money to travel, or it's really expensive to travel. Even if you travel once a month, you don't have to go every weekend. Maybe set a day once a month, you go travel somewhere and you play. Yeah, it's still helping you in the long run.
That's a very, very good point. Yeah.
We go for it.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we got some pretty good questions in the chat too that I think we should get to.
You want to go ahead and read a couple of those off?
Okay, so the first one, we have. I gotta scroll up. Sorry.
Well, shout outs to Fresno State winning tonight.
Crafty Matt has one about the plans for your brand name. I think we could get to that a little later. I think because that's something Jordan, Mikey, and Javier should cover. But we have Mr. Zebra, who says, should I wait until I'm confident in my skill before I hit up my local scene, NLBC, which is next level battle circuit, or start going from now?
Go now. Go
That's
now.
a brain dead question. You should be going now.
Go now
You
because
have how many players going there?
next level's
top
dying.
8 players.
Next
man.
level's dying.
Oh no, they have top 8 players playing.
Yeah, like Sanford and Chris G go almost every week. So like
you need to go there now.
Yeah, like you need to take advantage of that before like they are.
If that is your scene, don't be scared to like. We talked about this earlier. We covered it. Don't be scared to lose. Go there. You have some of the top players in the East Coast that go there. Go there. Ask for games. Don't be scared to lose. Ask questions. That's how you get better.
And the thing too is, if they don't want to play you at that time, just be persistent and ask them later. Don't be annoying or anything. Just ask them later.
And and you know what's funny? You can be like, hey, let's play, and the fact that you're asking them to play, that shows that you're being, the initiator, and they see that, and they're gonna notice you more and more. The first time they play you, they might destroy you, and be like, some guy asked me to play and he wasn't very good. But then, the next time you play and then you show improvement, they will see that, and they will help you out even more. You'll be surprised, because a lot of players that come and show initiative and show improvement, I like that a lot. I love that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think everybody likes that. Javier.
I'll just ask real quick. Is NLBC that's streamed by Spooky, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because I would say like if you have the option, or maybe if you could be like a little proactive and maybe ask them if your match can be streamed, that's even better, because then you have footage of yourself playing against people.
Yeah, that's.
We always had when we went to travel for team tournaments, we always asked if our matches were on stream. Always, unless we had a recording device, but we always asked if we want. Even if we played, like when Javier was playing against Mike Ross at Capcom Cup, we begged them to put his match up on stream, but they couldn't. And guess what? It was Javier won, and it was a godlike match. So, but just ask.
Yeah, but yeah, for Mr. Zebra, just go. Don't be scared of your skill level. Don't be intimidated by all the other players. Go play, ask questions.
Yes.
Just don't be cocky.
And
don't be cocky.
Don't worry if you go into. Don't worry if you get bodied by everyone. You can only get better.
Trust me, I know. I go 0-2 all the time because I suck.
Like I said, it's not gonna be an easy road. It might be hard, and you might lose a lot, but that is how you get better.
This is very true.
Don't get discouraged from your losses. Learn from your losses, and that's
basically it, huh?
Go
this coming week, man. Go this coming week.
You should have been there yesterday. I don't know.
Hopefully we see you on the stream or something too.
Yeah, because it's especially like Mikey hit it on the head. When you have access to top 8, some of the best players in the world at the respective games, like Chris G goes there every week, Sanford Kelly, Flux, Ray. It's just Arturo is when you have access to those type of players, you have to take advantage of it. Like,
I know, huh?
Because like that is one thing that I kind of wish I had. If I could do is like, I wish I could have a chance to go and play Chris G once a week.
Yeah.
Even if I get bodied, like I learn something. I take it in stride and learn something. Like, if I were to play Chris G or like Sanford Kelly in Street Fighter, I would probably lose 10-0 to Sanford Kelly. It wouldn't even be close. But maybe I would take something from that match and I would learn it and keep building. So if I go to play him again later on, then maybe I show improvement, and then I could potentially beat him, or ask him for tips. So don't be afraid. Just you gotta go, man. Like, trust me. If Mikey and us, we had that opportunity to play like those guys every week, we take it in a heartbeat and run. We go. Like, you gotta take advantage of it, because otherwise it's before you know it could go away. Because that's the thing too, is like I've been hearing stuff, and maybe this isn't just injustice related. This isn't injustice related per se, but they haven't had, like, there was a couple weeks where they didn't have an injustice tournament. There was a couple times where they had like no Marvel entrants. It's just like people were just like not showing up. And remember when Next Level used to be really packed? So it's like, if you guys still want, I know it's an inconvenient place for some people by the location, but you know, if that's your only spot to play and you have all those guys going, you have to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look at those guys that go to Wednesday Night Fights. Some of them travel an hour, maybe even more in traffic to go. So.
And then let's go back to, we have another question. This is for Mikey, Jared, and Javier. Crafty Matt says, what are your plans on your brand name, the AlphaCounter name? Because you guys are the head honchos. So.
Wait, hold on.
Wait, say that again.
Oh, okay. Crafty Matt asks, what are your plans for the AlphaCounter name? Like, what are your guys' plans for the future? What do you? I guess essentially, what do you want this to become?
Honestly, there's some stuff that I have plans for that I am not ready to reveal yet because it's stuff that I personally haven't even told Mikey and Javier yet. It's just stuff that's been popping in my head. You know, but as far as where we want to take this, I guess our focus right now is to keep building our local community. I mean, I understand. I know where you're coming from. It's something that we have to discuss, though. It's nothing set in stone for this yet. It's something that we have to discuss.
Yep.
But that's.
I mean, obviously, like.
Honestly, that's the only thing I can really say right now because we have to just discuss it first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, and then of course we have that thing you guys started recently, right? Which is the list that's been going on for a while now.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's something that's kind of new, and we're still kind of working out the kinks. But I think people are liking it so far.
Yeah,
but,
I completely understand, and like Crafty Matt, I know exactly where you're coming from, dude. I know. It's just something It's just I got to, work on. Yeah, I understand that there's another AlphaCounter.
Right.
That is from 06 and is still going strong. Yes, that is something that. Don't worry, I didn't forget about that. That is something that one of the many things that is on my list, so to speak. And I can definitely tell you that a solution of sorts is in the works, but it's in the very beginning stages. So that's honestly all I can say about it. I'll just have to wait. I have to discuss it more.
Yeah,
so we'll just have. We can give you an answer later on. It's going to take time.
Right.
But just wrapping it up. We need a name for this show. So we never settled on a name for this show. So we wanted to ask the community, like maybe you could like hit us up with some suggestions for the name of the show.
My personal suggestion was Scumbag Saturday Nights, but that's just me.
Because the focus of the show is to help the community. We're doing the show for the community to help other players. To give tips to players and talk.
That's a cool one.
But talking about our personal experiences.
Check this out. We'll cancel Saturdays. Ooh. That's a cool one.
And so this show is for you guys.
FGC edition.
So we want to like reach out to you guys and practice a name.
Yeah. Maybe you guys can tweet us your suggestions. That way we don't have to.
I like Bro Cancel.
Yeah.
Can I tell my story?
Okay.
Wait. Let's just wrap it up, and then we'll finish with Mikey's story about a low forward. So we if you guys could tweet us the name or something, that is fine. Also, we have plans for some segments going forward. So if you guys have questions or want something covered, tweet us that and let us know. Yes, there's the Twitter at FGCAlphaCounter. So if you have any questions, anything you want help with, tweet away, and we'll answer it on the show.
Or ignore them, whichever comes first.
Also, next week we wanted to start a segment. Going over this with Jard, where if you guys have any videos that you guys want us to watch and maybe look over and give you guys some tips feel free to tweet those to the Twitter account, and maybe next week one of your videos could be featured, and we could, Mikey and Javier, them being the two professionals, could go over it, maybe help you guys out a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
We just want to help everyone in the community.
Just want to give back.
We just want to give back something.
Yeah.
Show that we could be helpful, and just just make it a welcoming environment for people that are willing to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. We just want to do what's best for business, I guess you could say.
And so,
You could say that. And you did.
Oh man.
but this week we don't have a video segment because this is our first show.
I mean,
So-
if they want, they can always check out the video of me getting bodied by Momochi.
I'm already checking that out.
You could watch the archive of my match last night.
And
No, no one wants
I
to
will
see
link
that.
and I will link you guys in the chat the video of Javier getting bodied by Momochi in the best of Momochi.
But since we don't have a video segment to finish, a helping segment, tonight we're gonna finish with story time featuring Xsk Samurai. So I'm
Alright,
going
Mike,
to hand it over to him.
You got 3 minutes. Go. No. I'm just- And
3
he's-
minutes?
No,
3
just go. Just
minutes?
tell your story.
Did someone just say 3 minutes?
Alright, so
Oh God.
when we left it, so there's two stories. I didn't know milkshakes were that expensive at Denny's. What the hell?
What?
Oh my God. Are we really going to this right now? All right, go ahead.
Hey, they're $4. Did you not know that?
No.
So-
Yes, they are $4. Moving on.
Okay, well, I
Pick
was
your
driving
battles,
down
dude.
back home on Maple, and I got pulled over. So, and I have my hands at whatever, what is it? Freaking
10 and
what
2.
is it? 10 and 2, whatever.
No wonder you got pulled over.
Yeah. I wonder.
That's awfully suspicious.
And I rolled down my windows, and he's like, "Hello, sir. What have you been doing tonight?" "Oh, I just came back from Denny's with my buddies." He goes, "Have you been low forwarding people?"
I swear to God, we're not having this conversation right now.
Ban this guy.
Was that seriously 90 minutes of build-up for that joke?
You really want to talk about how you just low forward people yesterday? Like,
Yeah. He asked me that. He said, "Did you come from a LAN party?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, Have you been raping people?" I said, "Yeah."
oh my gosh. I'm sorry,
You
guys.
suck.
I,
That's all I'm gonna
I
say.
expected
That was the best story ever.
No,
Alright.
it is not. And you are done. Like, you were done. You were done.
I'm
Can't
not on the show.
just mute him for the rest of the night.
Yeah, no, you're seriously done. Like, you're done.
You're banned.
You're
You're
banned.
banned for life, dog.
You hear this, guys? This is why I get banned all the time. This is why I get banned all the time.
Yo, real talk.
Banned and demodded.
Real talk. When this guy is in my stream chat anytime now, any of my mods, you have the right to ban this guy.
I either get banned or I get like
Timed out.
Yeah. timed out.
Yeah,
One-
hashtag.
At least once.
Hey,
At
hashtag
least
bad
once.
Mikey. Hashtag bad Mikey. But anyways, that's our first show for the night, guys. The unnamed show to be named later, I guess. So I just want to thank Javier, Cynistar, Mikey, Xsk Samurai, Nick, Mike, Eraldo Coil, for coming out doing the show with me. You guys can follow us all on Twitter. Everything is on the screen. We have our Facebook and everything like that. So, follow us. We're going to hopefully do this a weekly thing. If you guys came in late, we are going to upload this video on our YouTube channel. So just stay tuned. And do you guys have any other parting words?
I do.
I just want to say thanks for listening, guys.
I just want, same as Javier. Thank you for listening. We hope to keep doing this for you guys, and we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you have any feedback for us, please let us know. Something we can change, maybe kick Mikey off the show or something. But if any suggestions, just let us know.
And if you guys want any other topics, this was discussed earlier. If you guys want any other topic discussed, just tweet us, send us a message, whatever, or bring it up for the next show. And then we can talk about that because we're always open for, it's for the community, so it should be something that you guys want to talk about. So,
Can I say something?
Sure.
No.
if it's about low forward, you're done.
No.
Okay.
I just want to say Kipo.
Keep
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Yeah, so I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. This will be up on YouTube soon. Our YouTube channel is in our channel description. If you guys are in SoCal, I'll see you guys at Wednesday Night Fights on Wednesday. So, gonna play me some Injustice. So, super buffer Saturdays. I like that.
But you can't play Injustice.
Why can't I?
I have your PS3.
I play Killer Frost. Do you think I need to practice? Jeez.
You're right. He doesn't.
Real
just
talk.
like how
He's
I
just gonna
play
slide.
Batman.
He's
I don't
gonna
need to
slide.
practice.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
Until next time. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.
Good night.
Thanks for listening.
See you guys.